POTS. Bethenny Frankel, the reality star, she's in the news talking about how her POTS is totally out of control. Thank you to all of you for joining us on Transform Table Talk Live. I'm Imanuel, the co-host, alongside the one and only Dr. Maggie, MD. Dr. Maggie, thank you for talking all about POTS tonight because so many people requested this, and I think it's going to be a really illuminating discussion. POTS. Bethenny Frankel, the reality star, she's in the news talking about how her POTS is totally out of control.
I am messed up. I am not doing that great. I'm so dehydrated and riddled with aches and pain. I wake up like every 2 hours in such pain and dying of thirst. My doctor said it's definitely connected to this POTS syndrome that I have.
So this is interesting, right? Because what Bethenny didn't say in here and what she put in the caption was, this got way worse with the big C.
Yep.
Okay. And we just have a user right here that says just began having issues with POTS after the big C, using everything learned in the program to work on controlling it. Correct. So this is an interesting point because it brings up the role of infection.
Let's talk about it. What is the role of infection in starting all of this? Because I saw somebody asking questions like, is it just gut infection or can it be infection anywhere in the body? Like
anywhere in the body. And that's the thing. That's how the big C really is a big problem, because what we know is that the DNA, the RNA from this virus can actually integrate into many cells throughout your body. That's why there are lung symptoms. You can lose hair as a result of it. You can have chronic fatigue syndrome, pain, right? Neuropathy. And what I've seen, interestingly, is that big C and long haul is that it really disrupts the gut microbiome. So what I see is that any infection that you had there, if you happen to get the big C on top of it, boom, that gets worse. But this is the same when you're talking about Lyme. Like when you're talking about Lyme, Epstein-Barr virus, adenovirus, norovirus, there are a lot of viruses that can come in, and they can come in and they infect many different cells in your body. They may not even specifically only target the gut. They may actually target many different parts of the body with many symptoms. But one of the side effects is that they can disrupt and infect the cells in the gut, therefore making the gut really susceptible to infection. So many people in our programs for long haul and symptoms that nobody else can solve. I have people, we interviewed two nurses in the last 2 weeks who were recent graduates of our program who are in big C clinics that are specifically specializing in long haul that is not solving their problem. And yet by dealing with what we're talking about here is like, we understand that this is triggering a gut infection. This is triggering blood sugar issues, hormonal balances that need to be addressed, right? So then the big picture around this makes it much easier to tackle, because there is a hell of a lot that you can do with these viral infections and gut infections by addressing the pillars of Transform. I think about the 5 pillars of our program, man. I think about, the blood sugar. I think about, nutrient and vitamin density is triggered by digestion. I didn't go over all the pillars, but what I'm going to tell you is that, I've really learned that the big C and chronic viral type infections will make everything worse.
Okay.
But the problem is everyone thinks then it's all the focus is on that virus.
Right. And that's not entirely the whole picture.
No, because it's triggered this whole cascade.
A cascade. Because it was like you were saying, even with infection, the blood sugar swings are feeding infection.
Right. So why does someone have long haul and someone doesn't? Is because, believe it or not, the person who has an underlying blood sugar susceptibility of high and low blood sugar swings will get more impacted and more damage from big C. This is why diabetics have the highest mortality rate when it comes to getting big C and long haul, is because the blood sugar innately, it's almost like an invitation.
I've never heard anybody connect that before, because you have heard it being reported that diabetics are not faring as well when it comes to the big C.
High mortality rate.
Yes. Yes. And it makes a lot of sense what you're saying then, because the blood sugar is not well regulated. And
that's an invitation for viruses and bacteria to take hold. And then think about it. If you have POTS on top of that, where you already have high, low blood sugar, high, low blood pressure, and then you get a rip-roaring virus that then causes a rip-roaring gut infection, you release a ton of what is LPS, lipopolysaccharides. these insides of these bacteria that are being released drops blood pressure even more. Now you got the shitstorm, which is what is happening to Bethenny right now. She wrote in the copy of that video that this has gotten so much worse since the big C.
This person wants to know, are POTS and lupus related? And I think, just not answering for you, but you would probably say to anybody, hey, POTS and any autoimmunity could be related, right? Because
That
if
could
you
be our, yeah.
yeah. So the answer is yes, but it's not just lupus. I'm sure it's any kind of autoimmune issue
Well,
because
yeah. Full disclosure is that, I see a lot of people with autoimmune issues, right? And we didn't start out with a program that says, hey, like, let me solve your POTS naturally, because we do, but it was a byproduct, which was that people with autoimmune disease had a really high rate of having POTS and dysautonomia. And that's how come we ended up gathering a huge population. And we have had hundreds of people with this, and we've been able to turn it around, right? And so it was a byproduct, not because I came out, with guns blazing saying, I can help you turn around your POTS around in weeks. Well, it just happened as a byproduct because people with other chronic diseases, not just autoimmune, any other chronic diseases are at much higher rate of getting POTS. So the cause for other chronic diseases and the cause for POTS are the same. If you know somebody else who's dealing with this, tag their name in the comment section right now. That'd be super duper helpful. I'd love to have more people learn about this. This is solvable within the next couple of weeks.
if you'd like more information about the 5 pillars or ways to connect with the Transform team, just put a comment in our chat and a member of the team will get with you.
Thanks, everybody.